Shalom, beloved family. It's your girl Sophia Spiritualite, and we're here for another sort of mini Bible study. We pulled Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John cards, chapter 7 through 12, a bunch of times. So this is just going through, doing a reading, and giving some thoughts on the chapter. So I've done Matthew and Luke already, chapter 7 and 8, and I have Mark and John 7 and 8 that's going to be coming at you sort of in a rapid order. So let's get started. Mark chapter 7. Then came together unto him the Pharisees and certain of the scribes which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with the defiled, that is to say, with unwashen hands, they found fault. For the Pharisees and all the Jews, except they wash their hands oft, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders. And when they came from the market, except they wash, they eat not. And many other things there be which they have received to hold, as the washing of cups, pots, brazen vessels, and of tables. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, Why walk not thy disciples according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashen hands? He answered and said unto them, Well hath Esaias prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, This people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of God, ye holding the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things ye do. And he said unto them, Full well ye reject the commandment of God, that ye may keep your own tradition. For Moses said, Honor thy father and thy mother, and whoso curseth father or mother, let him die the death. But ye say, If a man shall say to his father or mother, It is Corban, that is to say, a gift, by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me, he shall be free. And ye suffer him no more to do aught for his father or his mother, making the word of God of none effect through your tradition, which ye have delivered, and many such like things do ye. And when he had called them, and when he had called all the people unto him, he said unto them, Hearken unto me, every one of you, and understand. There is nothing from without a man that entering into him can defile him, but the things which come out of him, those are they that defile the man. If any man have ears to hear, let him hear. And when he was entered into the house from the people, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. And he saith unto them, Are ye so without understanding also? Do ye not perceive that whatsoever thing from without entereth into the man, it cannot defile him, because it entereth not into his heart, but into the belly, and goeth out unto the drought, purging all meats? Because it entereth not into his heart, but into the belly. Oh, and I already read this. I'm sorry. And he said, That which cometh out of the man, that defileth the man. From within, out of the heart of men proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetous, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man. And from thence he rose and went into the borders of Tyre and Sidon, and entered into a house, and would have no man know it. But he could not be hid. For a certain woman whose young daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him, and came out and came and fell at his feet. The woman was a Greek, a Syrophoenician by nation, and she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter. But Jesus said unto her, Let the children first be filled, for it is not to meet to take the children's bread and to cast it unto dogs. And she answered unto him, Yes, Lord, yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs. And he said unto her, For this saying, go thy way, the devil is gone out of thy daughter. And when she was come to her house, she found the devil gone out, and her daughter laid upon the bed. And again, departing from the coast of Tyre and Sidon, he came unto the sea of Galilee, through the midst of the coast of Decapolis. And they brought unto him one that was deaf, and had an impediment in his speech. And they beseeched him to put his hand upon him. And he took him aside from the multitude, and put his finger into his ears, and spit, and touched his tongue. And looking up to heaven, he sighed, and saith unto him, Emphatha, that is, be opened. And straightway his ears were opened, and the string of his tongue was loosed, and he spake plain. And he charged them that they should not tell no man, but the more he charged them, so much the more a great deal they published it, and were beyond measure astonished, saying, He hath done all things well. He maketh both deaf to hear and the dumb to speak. Selah. All right, so this is like crazy. So I'm just gonna make a few comments. And of course, you can always cut this off. You don't have to listen to my commentary. But first, in the very beginning, this whole conversation about the doctrines and commandments of men, how Mark chapter 7 verse 7, howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Laying, verse 8, for laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men. This, I swear, is the quintessential problem with religion in general, because they teach you a lot of doctrines, they tell you a lot of stuff, but in telling you the stuff and forcing you to take the doctrine, you ignore the commandments, which is honor thy father and thy mother. That's what he says. And people don't honor their father and their mother. And then they expect to be rewarded somehow when they have hate in their heart for their father and their mother. And yet, they're telling you you are wrong because what you're eating with defiled hands, which is, who are they to say what's defiled and what's not defiled anyway? Especially to tell Jesus. I mean, you got to be kidding me. The word has been going around, but see, this is the problem of the Pharisees and the scribes. Certain scribes, they say, not all of them. Certain scribes. This is the problem with the Pharisees and the scribes, and this is another. I'm sure this is why this card kept coming up for us, because the Pharisees and the scribes, they had their traditions, they had their doctrines and covenants, they had their last testaments. That's what they had. And they took those things as the gospel 100% truth. And while they were taking that as the gospel 100% truth, they hated people, they lied on people, they did all kinds of other stuff they wasn't supposed to do. They cursed people, they didn't feed the poor, they didn't, all kinds of vain and covetous things they did. Meanwhile, they're trying to tell you you're a sinner, you're going to hell, you're this and that because you are not following the testaments and the doctrines and covenants. This is the problem. This is where the divide is just too deep to cross, because if somebody were to tell me I was going to hell because I'm not following doctrines and covenants I've never read or didn't understand or didn't know. And I'm flat out going to hell as a result of that. That is the most insane thing I have ever heard. Because if you're a good person and you treat people well and you follow the commandments, which there are only a few commandments, really is, and they're universal commandments. So you don't have to be told to treat people with respect. You don't have to be told to be nice. You don't have to be told not to steal, not to kill. You shouldn't have to be told those things. So the fact that Moses, I mean, had to give them the dumbed down version of what not to do, and they still couldn't even do that. Meanwhile, this is what the fathers did. This is what the ancestors did. This is what they did. But they only talking about what part of what they did. They don't talk about the other part, only the part that was acceptable. The part that was unacceptable, they didn't talk about that. That was the problem. All right, so let me look. There's another thing. And again, the disciples have no idea what this man is talking about. I just find it so insane that In every version of these, the disciples are confused. They listen to Jesus speak and they have no idea what the man is talking about. They're like, "This man, what? Can you give us a little bit of clarity on this?" He's like, "You guys don't get this. It's not obvious what I mean." And I just think that's funny and just hilarious. Okay, so this is my favorite part right here. I talk about this all the time now, and I use this in my when I pray to the Most High all the time. um Verse 28, and she answered unto him, Yes, Lord, yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs. I mean, that is perfect. The Most High doesn't have to bless me at all. Not one bit. He doesn't have to turn his face towards me. He doesn't have to show me any love, no kindness, no mercy, mercy or anything else. But the point is, even the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs. I mean, even the dogs, like, are we so punished that we don't even get the crumbs like the dogs get? I mean, this is and I say this because it ties into that whole concept of what's the scripture I read every day? I think it's Psalms 91 where it talks about how um God has a cattle on 1,000 hills. No, no, it's Psalm 50. I do Psalm 50 at dusk. And Psalm 50 says, would I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the bloods of goats, offer unto child thanksgiving and pay thy vows unto the Most High. Like, you know, he has a cattle on 1,000 hills. Why does he need to eat what you eat? He's got his own. Why does he even need to eat it all? He's God. The point of the matter is, if he's got a cattle on 1,000 hills, whenever he sits at his celestial table to have dinner, at least let me be worthy to be treated like a dog at the table, like just to get the crumbs. I'm not asking for a triple, quadruple portion of anything. I just want the crumbs. Like, just give me the crumbs. I'm okay with that. And that goes over a lot of people's heads, but it's that's and then he healed he's Jesus was there to heal his people. He was there to heal his people, but he still managed to heal other people's people. Why? Because even the dogs are given mercy. Even the dogs are treated well. So, um, and this this is crazy. This will probably be my last point. But look, it says, verse 33, he put fingers into his ears and he spit and touched his tongue. So, how is it that I'm trying to be as completely serious as possible? How is that any different from what from riding a pentacle, burning a candle, supercharging it? I'm serious, like, because for some reason the works, the actual things that Jesus did, those are not good enough. See, we have to follow what the elders did. It's just like this, the Pharisees and certain scribes. We got to follow what the elders did. Forget about the stuff Moses was really doing, the plagues. No, 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 no. We can't do any of that stuff. No, no, no. We can't look at any of that stuff that Moses, who was a forefather as well, did. No, no, no. Don't look at Noah. Absolutely not. Noah does not count. We cannot go into different dimensions to protect ourselves from a flood that's coming on the earth. No, 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 no. Forget that. No, Solomon tamed his demons. No, no, no. Don't even think about taming the demons. Those are the things we cannot do. See, we need to eat at the table with clean hands, and we need to follow the testaments and the doctrines and covenants. That's the most important thing. This is the whole thing about our older, wiser brother. And this is why I always say he showed us a perfect example of how to conquer, how to ascend up the tree of life, and how to conquer the tree of death. That's what we have access to. This is what he did. This stuff is spirits. This stuff is demons. So he know how to do a little thing, spit on the ear, say a certain word, and make the demons flee. So how is it that we're not supposed to have that skill? How is it? This is our older, wiser brothers, and he said we would do greater things, but not see. And even like I'm studying some of the secret society information, and even them, they don't want you to do what Jesus did. They want you to use the skill of Jesus, but they don't want you to actually do the things. They don't talk about, unless maybe once you get to a higher degree, but the initial degrees, they're not telling people, look, you're gonna do what Jesus did by the time this is done. They're not saying that. So it's very it's very unusual for a person like me, like to try and wrap my mind around this. But anyway, that's the last point. I just want to know, anybody can leave a comment on how putting your fingers into somebody's ears, spit and touch his tongue, and looked up to heaven and said a word that they say here, but I don't think that's the word that he said. So just explain to me how that's different from supercharging a candle. I would love for someone to explain that to me because I don't get it. I don't get it. What's the difference? Our older, wiser brother Yahweh did it. It's here in Mark chapter 7. I feel like I should be able to do that too. I want to be like my brother. I'm gonna follow my father wherever he goes. So, anyway, of course, this has been Mark chapter 7, King James Version. The spirits who are here with us, you're invited to go in peace. My beloved viewers, you're invited to be at peace and always remember the Most High is your peace. Shalom, everyone.